Thanks for tuning into the channel. So today I'm going to be talking about some big changes that's come to Turo. If you're wondering who I am and why I'm talking about Turo, well, I'm actually a Turo host. I've been a Turo host now for a little bit over 2 years, so I'm familiar with the platform. And those of you that may be thinking about doing Turo, or maybe you're already a Turo host, if you're wondering what I used for my fleet, everything that I use, my no smoking stickers, my lockbox, all that's going to be in the description box. But let's talk about the changes that are coming to the platform. Now, if you haven't done Toro, but you're just thinking about it, you're probably not aware of this. If you are a Toro host, there's a big possibility that you are aware, but hey, who knows, maybe you're not. And that's why I'm making this video, to make everyone aware, the ones that are on Toro as hosts and the ones that are not, but are thinking about doing Toro. Now, the big change is Toro's going to allow box trucks. So they're basically opening up the doors for commercial vehicles on the platform. Now, there's going to be some states, I believe, they're not going to allow it just yet, but there's going to be a lot that are. Now, some of you are going to see this as a big opportunity to expand your fleet and make more money. Some of you are not going to like this and are going to think this is really risky. The good news is, if you don't like this, you don't have to do it. If you're wondering what my view is on the box truck, I see the risk. I definitely do. And for me, I don't think it's something that I'm going to partake in, meaning I don't see myself buying the box trucks, because I believe a lot of people don't tend to drive these vehicles on a regular. So I feel like there's a big probability of there being more accidents with this in my fleet. So I don't want to run that risk, but I am open to seeing how others do. And I am going to be checking on the website to see people listing them, to see what they're listing them at, how they book, and things like that, because box trucks are not cheap. And I am going to be sharing the screen. We're going to look at some of these box trucks for sale, kind of see what they're going for and things like that. Also, you want to check on Toro, see what the year is and the mileage, because some of these box trucks that I've seen online after I found out about these changes can be pretty old with high mileage, still going for a lot of money. So I don't know what your ROI will be on them. And that's important before you make an investment. That's why I also want to sit on the sidelines, kind of see people go ahead and do the investment and kind of see how it does for them before I'm even going to consider it, because I do think there's a lot of risk. But this is great for people that are going to be moving locally. They're going to have more options. Most people that I know of, they just go to U-Haul. And now you're going to have more options. Now, if you're just doing a one-way, let's say you're moving from Florida to Texas, you're probably going to need to stick to U-Haul, because I know they allow one-ways. With Toro, you got to basically keep it in town, because you're going to you need to bring it back. So if you can't bring it back, then you might not want to look at Toro. But if you're just, locally, not too far, you might find a better deal on Toro versus U-Haul or some other company like U-Haul. So it's just bringing a little bit more competition, meaning people out there are going to be able to now shop around a little bit more. But if you're a host, I like to know, what do you think about this change? Are you thinking about adding box trucks to your fleet? Leave some comments down below. Also, I want you to consider this. You got to think about where you live. If you live in a community with an HOA, most likely they're not going to allow you to have a box truck. Now, I don't know that, right? You need to check with your HOA, but I know HOAs can be strict and they tend to not want commercial vehicles in communities, at least in the community I live in. That doesn't mean it's going to be like that across the board, but I'm just throwing this out there in case it hasn't crossed your mind. Where are you going to store this big commercial vehicle, like a box truck? You can't, not everyone can have one, because it may not be allowed where they live and they may not have a place to store it. So these are things that you kind of want to think of before you go ahead and make this big purchase. So keep that in mind, but I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to bring some trucks that are for sale so you can kind of see some different ones and some prices. Hopefully you find this helpful. Let me go on to the website. And here we are. So I found a dealership that sells box trucks. Inventory here. Box trucks for sale. And we'll take a look at some of their inventory and see some of the prices. Here we go. So we got a 2016 Chevrolet G $3,500, and it's going for $18,980 and has over 100,000 miles. Now, some of you may think this is a good price. I kind of think of it as a high price because it has over 100,000 miles. Now, I get it. It's a commercial vehicle. It's a box truck. They're going to be more expensive. But you also have to think at this mileage, what are going to be the mechanical issues? Because you got to make sure you're making a profit, right? Or at least I hope so. That's what I would be doing, is to make a profit. So if it's on higher mileage, I'm going to think, well, what kind of maintenance is this going to need and things like that. You want to take that into consideration because you're going to need to rent it for a certain amount to make money. And if it gives you any mechanical issues, you're going to want, when you rent it out, enough money to come in to cover the depreciation, mechanical issues, and to put some money in your pocket. And let's see some other ones. Here's another one in 2019. This one's $25,980, a little over. This one's at 120, a little over 120,000 miles. Let's see. Oh, wow, this one has a lift gate. Back here, 2017, that's an E450. That's a big boy. And a little over 28,000, but not that bad on mileage. It's 52,000 miles. So this one's low on mileage. And I'm going to click on this one so you can get a better view of it. Got the lift gate, new tires. This one looks well maintained. And it's a V10, so it's definitely gonna be a gas guzzler. But I wanted to see some, since Turo's now gonna allow box trucks. I wanted to bring some to the channel, show you some different prices. This one's 2022. This one's not bad, in my opinion. 48,000 miles, so not bad on mileage. Not too old, 29,000 miles. And if you go on Turo, there's a lot of cars on there that are $30,000 and more, like a Toyota Camry, a new one. If you look at the 24s, an LE will cost you 30,000 brand new. So box truck could potentially maybe make you a lot of money, because I'm gonna assume that the daily rate's gonna be a lot higher than a Toyota Camry. So if you can buy one, let's say at a price of a Camry, just as an example, but you can rent it out for a lot more, there could be a potential to make good money. So this is gonna, we'll find out over time as people post them. Again, I'm gonna still sit on the sideline, but you definitely see some trucks here get an idea what they're going for. This one's really fairly new, only has a little over 11,000 miles. Let's click on this one. This one, in my opinion, looks like in really good shape. And they have different sizes. So if you're worried like I would be about people getting in accidents, I'd probably start off with a smaller one. This one looks really good for around town, for people that are moving and that need to haul things. This, in my opinion, seems like a good one. But here I was able to bring you some box trucks for sale, showed you some different prices, at least in the area that I'm in. And now I'm curious to know, what do you think of the box trucks that I saw? Do you think, if you're already a Toro host, that you may buy some of these and put it in your fleet? Do you think this is a good move on Toro? What are your views? Let me know. And let me stop sharing the screen now, because we're going to be talking now about another change that Toro's doing. So August 19th, they're allowing the box trucks, but also gig workers. So gig workers are like people that do Uber or DoorDash, things like that. Before on the platform, and some of you may not be aware of this, if someone booked your car and let you know when they booked it, hey, I'm going to be using the car to do Uber or something along the lines like Uber, you would need to let them, or you would need to tell them to cancel the reservation, or you need to call Turo and have that reservation canceled, because Turo would not allow that. If you were informed that that's what your car was going to be used for and you didn't cancel it, you ran a risk of there being no coverage if there was an accident. You don't want that, right? So you want to follow the Toro rules. That way, if something goes wrong, you are protected if you are selecting the protection plans that Toro offers while the car's on rent. So it's good to know. But now this has changed. August 19th, 2024, they're allowing for individuals that do DoorDash and things like this to rent your car. It's allowed now. So if someone tells you that they're doing this, you don't need to get scared or cancel. But what's your view on that? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Now, just in case this hasn't crossed your mind, this is how I saw it. Is opening up Turo for more people to book a car, which is good, right? It's bringing more business. But with that, I see some cons. If you're doing Uber Eats or something like that, most likely the person that rents your car to do that is going to put more wear and tear on it. They're going to drive it more. See, a lot of people, when they rent my car, and I live in Florida by an airport, so this can vary with, someone else that may be watching depending on their location. But for me, I get a lot of people that book the car and they're just going to the theme parks. So they fly in, they pick up the car at the airport, they go to the theme park, their hotel, and they don't do a lot of driving. Those are the money makers, right? They're not beating up the car a lot. They're not doing a lot of abuse. It's going to be the car's going to basically be parked while they go have fun at the theme parks and spend time with their friends and family. Perfect. That's what you want. But now people that you're going to may be booking the car to work, they're going to be driving the car constantly. And they're probably going to be driving a lot of miles and a lot of wear and tear. And that's going to take away your profit because while you're renting out the car and you're making money, it's all great. But a lot of people forget, hey, cars depreciate. And one day you're probably either going to trade that car in for another one or you're going to sell it to get out of it. If that car loses too much value while you're renting it, you may actually not make any profit, meaning all the time you spent washing that car, getting it ready for bookings, and if you decide to do deliveries and things like that, it may all be for a waste because if you didn't make any money, why would you be, going through the risk and all that effort and work to not get any reward, right? You want to be compensated. So you want to think this out. That's why I would definitely not recommend unlimited miles. I get why some people do the unlimited miles to stand out and get more bookings, but just know that now that Turo's doing the gigs, like allowing people to do Ubers and things, if you have an economy car, because I think this is going to affect people that are that have economy cars, which that's what I have. Because I don't think that people that are going to do Uber Eats and DoorDash and things like that, I don't think they're going to go and rent luxury cars, exotic cars, and high-end cars, right? I don't think they're going to because they're looking to make money off the car. So if you're getting into expensive cars, the daily rate's probably going to be too high where you probably won't make any money. So this is probably going to affect hosts that offer economy cars or sticking to that segment, which is what I do. And if one of these individuals rent my car, which I'm okay with that, I don't want to offer unlimited miles though, because if they drive the car too much, I want to be compensated for those extra miles so it can make sense for me. Now, I don't know if someone that does gig work, if they rented one of my vehicles, if it makes sense for me because it hasn't happened yet. When it happens, if it starts to happen, I would have to do the math because you want to know, like, hey, if I have my car on the platform and gets booked and gets driven 200 miles, how much am I losing? I've never have that case where people really go over mileage or even drive up to the 200 miles, but I may run into this now with the gig, now that Turo's offering, people that do Ubers and things like that to rent your car. I may run into a situation where they're driving 200 miles a day or more with my car and the depreciation may not make sense. So I need to look into that. But the ones that are offering economy cars and unlimited miles may really end up getting hurt financially because their car may get really beat up, more wear and tear, and also more likely to need maintenance and things like that. So is this a bad thing? Is this a good thing? I feel like it's a good thing because we're opening up the doors to more people, bringing more attention to Turo, meaning more bookings, which is good. But with that, the cons are, hey, the wear and tear on the vehicles, we need to consider that while we're doing our pricing and the options. What options are we doing? Are we doing unlimited? Are we, saying, hey, no more than a certain amount of mileage? If you're wondering the mileage that I pick, I do 200. So if you book one of my cars and you drive 200 miles a day, you're within limit. But if you exceed that, let's say you drive over that, then I start to get compensated for that. Those of you that picked unlimited, you would not, but your car is getting beat up. So remember that. But I think this is a good thing that, people that do Uber and things like that can rent a car on Turo because, hey, they got to make money. They need transportation. Why not? But as a host, you want to make sure that it's going to make sense for you. So just keep that in mind that you may start seeing now bookings from people that do Uber and things like that coming onto the platform and booking your car. And this is really the only way we're going to find out if it's going to make us money or not. So it's just, keep that in mind. Let me know your opinions down in the comments below. Hopefully you found the video helpful. If you didn't know about this, maybe you did. I really am interested in knowing about other hosts, what they think about these changes, if they're for it or against it, what their views are. If you're thinking about joining Turo, what do you think about this, right? You're not on Turo yet, but now you know you could do box truck. Now you know that you can rent out the car to individuals that do DoorDash, Uber Eats, and things like that. What's your view on it? My view is kind of still to be determined. I see some pros and some cons. Hopefully, I was able to inform you of some new things if you weren't aware of it. And if I did, smash the like button. Also, smash it if you like the video. Don't forget to leave some comments down below. And if you could do me a big favor, subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.